Hi, this is Ms. Arlequin, and today we are going to be looking at word meanings. We're going to focus on how we can analyze the connotative meanings of words using context clues. So today we're going to work on a lesson about analyzing word meanings in context in order to determine a word's figurative, connotative, or technical meaning. So just remember that the context is the surrounding text, and within that surrounding text there are often clues that can help you determine a word's meaning. Now we can use context clues to figure out individual vocabulary words, words that have multiple meanings, or even figurative expressions. Let's look at two example sentences and see if we can figure out the difference in the two sentences. When Sarah learned that she had lost the election, she requested a recount of the votes. When Sarah learned that she had lost the election, she demanded a recount of the votes. I want you to focus on the two highlighted words from both sentences and see if you can notice a difference between those two words. Requested and demanded have similar denotations or dictionary definitions. However, the word demanded, as it's used in the second sentence, has a connotation or implied meaning that suggests anger. At times, authors select words for their connotations or their suggested feelings, and then those words are being used in a way that's beyond their literal dictionary definition or beyond their denotative meaning. For example, if you look at the cartoon on the right, you can see that the artist has jokingly played around with connotations. The cannibals are saying, actually, we don't like the term cannibal, we prefer to be called homivores. Now, both of those words actually mean the same thing, but the cannibals prefer another description for themselves. They're focusing on the connotation of the word cannibal, which is negative, and they want a word that has a more positive connotation. Let's look at some examples of the different meanings of some words.
Here, just the back is coming off the corner here, at the end is pinching. Play ball!
Break it up, man. I can't hear you.
Run away. We're serious. We're gonna run away.
022, maintain approach. You're clear for runway 27.
I've fallen, and
Light as a feather, come on. Light as a feather. Light.
Let there be light!
What is the denotation of the two words in the following two sentences? Marla and Juana had a plan for what they would do at the slumber party. The pirate's scheme to steal the chest full of jewels did not succeed. What is the dictionary definition or the denotation of both the words plan and scheme? These are two words that have similar meanings, however they have different connotations. When you talk about the connotations of words, you're basically talking about whether they have a positive feeling associated with it or a negative feeling associated with it. Some words have more favorable connotations, whereas others have negative ones. When you think about the two words in the previous example, plan and scheme, is the connotation of plan favorable or is it negative? Is the connotation of scheme favorable or negative? If you said that plan has a more positive connotation, you would be correct. Scheme is usually a more negative word that you would associate with villains or criminals who are coming up with a bad plan, something to hurt people, to steal something. Now, when you think about the author of each sentence and their choice of whether to use the word plan or scheme, well, now you're thinking about the author's intention and what kind of meaning they wanted to give to their sentence. So how does each word choice affect the meaning of a sentence? You always want to think about that when you're analyzing word choice. And a way that you can help yourself kind of break down what the author might be thinking is you want to think about changing the word in the sentence. What if we were to take a target vocabulary word out and replace it with one that means something similar but has a different connotation? How would changing that word affect the meaning of the sentence? And that's basically what you want to do when you're analyzing word choice. Let's take the next example. My nosy neighbor watches me walk my dog each morning. In this sentence, the neighbor is being described as nosy. From the use of the word nosy, is the neighbor portrayed positively or negatively? Well, if you said negatively, you're right. Think about how you would want to be described. Would you want somebody to refer to you as nosy? Nosy has a negative connotation to it. It makes somebody think that they're not minding their own business, they're getting involved in things that aren't really their concern. Now, how would the meaning be different if instead of nosy, the sentence said curious? Well, if you said that curious is a more positive word, has a positive connotation, you'd be correct. The tone of the sentence would then end up being more positive, just from that one simple change in word use. Chad sank into the luxurious goose down comforter. Is the word luxurious positive or negative? When you hear that adjective being used to describe something, does it make you feel good? Does it make you feel bad? What do you picture in your mind when you hear that descriptive word? If you said positive, you would be correct. Luxurious things are things that cost a lot of money, and so describing something as luxurious is definitely a positive description. Now it's time to practice. Log into your Moto account and you will see a short quiz on connotative meanings, which I would like you to complete before tomorrow's class. Good luck!